Now the whole world is ours. First you get the money, and then you get the power. Mix it all together, put it together. Now the whole world is ours. I say the whole world should get the money. You get out this game what you put in, so I'm investing every hour. Stack up $500,000, wash these dirty hands in the shower. We was broke until we put our hands on that powder. Racks on top of racks, now we connected. On that flour, stacked up 100 grand in 96 hours. On this road to riches, it's been a rocky road. Everybody hands was out, couldn't trust a soul. Backstabbers chasing my pot of gold. I won't stop till my vault filled with blocks of gold. Niggas breaking the codes, couldn't trust these hoes. She wasn't loving me, she was in love with the dough. Going all out for the power of the cash flow. Can't knock a motherfucker for one more. Can't sleep when it's starving, gotta go. The top been waiting on me. Gotta stay on this road, stick to the script, and follow the code. First you get the money, and then you get the power. Mix it all together.
Special guest all the time. We have another special guest tonight. The topic is tonight, helping siblings.
And then you get the power.
Sibling relationship. So tune in, call 515-599-1680. We'd love to hear from you. Share your views.
I say I can, I say I will, I say I am. He who have faith shall accomplish anything, even through struggle and misfortune. Faith can turn a peasant to a king. In a world full of grief, it's a blessing just to breathe. No need for stressing, knuckle up and be a G. For some to stand alone can cause depression. Only the strong will survive in this recession. Caught on possessions, you can lose in a second. Can teach you a valuable lesson. Never neglect your hustle. Respect the game and get your paper in bundles. If not, you in trouble. Power is earned, not given, but sometimes you gotta take your position. Some fake it just to make it, but we ain't faking, my nigga. We take care of business. St. Louis is much too small of a city. The world is up for the taking, and we won't stop till we get it. So first you get the money, and then come the...
I think we meet Tuesday, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yes, we can hear you.
For every move, you got to pay for keeps. Keeping my head high towards the sky.
You can tell that Justin listens to a lot of your music.
Everybody throws up.
Kind of know it.
Yo, in my barrel you had to be thorough. Couldn't come around her, no place for widows. Money on our mind, doing numbers, constantly adding zeros. People depending on me, fast lane, they ghetto hero. Cartier lenses, chinky eyes, half closed. Billy Kimber keep me relaxed on the road. I stood at zero below for the dinero. Rather freeze to death before I be bro. Sacrifice my life to get my foot in the door. Now I got the keys to the city, I can open doors. Running that bag up is my only goal. Dying poor, rather be old, whipping a rose, traveling the globe.
There's always a destiny.
I know, that's what I was telling you. I can see your hand like this.
Forever I will be the one and only. Thank God for me.
3 daddies, 1 mama. Tell me what is this? Who would have ever thought that this what the world was gonna get?
With my co-host, Fast Lane 747.
What up? Oh, I can hear y'all when we talking.
And we have our co-host out of the ATL, Mrs. Mink.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
And of course, you know that we are doing our mental illness and mental health awareness all this month. And today we have a good show for you. So tune in 515-599-1687.
How we don't see the
That's
other guests?
515-599-1687. Call in if you would like to get in on this conversation. This is for everybody.
Yes, most definitely. And we are glad to be here on this evening. And we do have a special guest that's joining us. He has joined us many times before. And we just love having the conversation when it is that he comes and he shares a lot of his views as well as drops a lot of nuggets and knowledge on us. So we are very pleased to have MPZ on the line with us.
Yes.
Very
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up?
What's going on? What's going on? Yes.
How's everybody doing?
We doing all right. What about you?
Blessed.
Yeah, I'm well.
Yes.
Blessed.
So we have a topic
Another day
tonight for
above
y'all.
ground.
Yes, of course. Broken siblings. How do mental illness affect siblings' relationship? Talk to us. We'll talk back. 515-599-1687. If you have not tuned in, tune in every Friday. All month we doing mental health awareness. Miss Mink?
Yes. So, as you stated earlier, Miss Kiwi, this is a very hot topic. Anything around mental illness is a hot topic because we always say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And, sometimes it is that a lot of us don't recognize that we're going through something. But when it is that we go through something, we can't just push it off or shove it off. We do have to talk through it because it does impact and affect our minds. We may not realize it or recognize it, but we most definitely, when there is things that's on our minds, we are dealing with something and it can spark things that we may not even think about. So I know Fastlane says a lot of times, hey, how it is that we may meditate, or I know that he works out a lot. There are different things that can help you through and dealing with, that mental, I'll say that mental sign that you may not recognize. Like it's as simple as hearing a song or listening to a song. For me, it's prayer. And I know that, it's prayer for a lot of people. So we just have to, just support each other, one another, and most definitely continue to become aware. We have to educate ourselves. And, as a part of our vision, it's to build that gap between the youth and the season. And this is something that we really, really have to touch on because a lot of our youth are really being impacted now and really struggling and going through some things. So we have to be aware. We have to be aware, most definitely.
Yes.
And tonight we are talking about broken siblings. How mental illness affects your family, your siblings. The different signs that, we should be aware of when we start shying away from each other, when we don't want to talk or be bothered with each other. That's just signs that there's something going on. Something may be on your mind. Something may have happened. And you have to get to that place where you can talk about it, because if not, then you'll deal with that for the rest of your life if you don't never talk about it, and it becomes a real mental issue.
Yeah, and you seclude yourself.
Yeah.
You seclude yourself, most definitely. So MPZ, share a little bit with us on this topic on tonight. What are some of your views in reference to what do you feel that siblings, family, period, may encounter when someone dear to them, such as their sibling, is dealing with something dealing with mental illness?
First thing, I mean, I want everybody to look at like us going into an unfamiliar place, a place you ain't never been, or a dark room with no lights, giving you no type of shadows or anything like that. And you standing in the middle of that room, or you standing in the middle of that place trying to figure out what direction to go in. And so therefore, when you relate to that, when you just take a moment and you think about that, you think about the first thing that comes to your mind. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of us go with the ideal of fear. So, and that's being an adult, you kind of panic and wonder which way to go, what to do. So imagine as a kid, don't even have a clue. It's not even in tune with their emotions or the functioning of their mind for real, or what they're perceiving and what's going on in front of them. So, and I say all that to say that, in a lot of my beginning stages, first let me say this: we in this month, I think that everybody should take a moment to really, really evaluate their thoughts, their feelings, and share them with somebody that's very important with you, somebody that you could trust with total honesty. Because here's the realization of everything. Even though we're having this conversation, you know what I'm saying? We got to understand we at a point where we just stood up from crawling. So we haven't learned our balance yet. And so I say that to say that we scratching the surface of all this of drama, of trauma, the effects of trauma, developing emotional maturity and really understanding what the emotions is, our thought patterns, because in all honesty, the thought is the cause of it all. To everything in this world, we link some type of way to it, and what I mean by that is, just for one example, is like water. Whatever's in the ocean or water that flows on the earth is inside our body, And so with that being said, I think that everybody should recognize and really take this situation real serious, because it's a lot of us walking around here thinking we ain't crazy. And I don't mean to use the term crazy in a sense as an insult, but I'm saying in the sense that it's been a lot of manipulation and lying to ourselves. And I'm speaking firsthand. Let me make that clear about myself, and and it's no excuse. And that's not saying it in a way of just taking ownership and saying, hey, because I'm a human being or because I'm a person, I come to the realization of the mistakes that I made and I apologize, because it's a lot deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by it being a lot deeper than that is that, we can't even begin to understand how the brain and the brain inside the body work, with alone the emotions inside the body and how it works. And what I mean by that is, I'm gonna give you a prime example of me, and what I've come to understand about myself is that a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my feelings are immature as well as premature, meaning that I haven't developed emotional stability or emotional maturity, because I have yet to develop control over my mind, which everyone should be in control of their mind. But until they understand how that works, what that look like, then I don't think no one thinks for themselves. And I'm gonna explain why. Because in this moment right now, we're talking about something that is real prevalent in the Black community. And that's a lot of sisters and brothers, you know what I'm saying, going through a lot of traumatic situations throughout their life that they still have yet to understand and have hurt one another or hurt particular ones, innocent ones as well, and yet, really having to accept what that might feel like overall, meaning that person that they hurt as well as what they feel within. Emotional maturity is a real powerful thing. And what I learned about emotions is 9 times out of 10, the feelings that we have are past tense. And what I mean by that is that 90% of the thoughts that we have, we connect them to our feelings. And when we think about it, anything that happens in our present, we connect that to our feelings. So that automatically takes us to the past. That's the only way that we have learned to relate to what's taking place in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And see, you notice in all that, I haven't said anything about the brain. So that's a powerful thing in itself. Our body our brain becomes secondaries to our feelings, and our feelings take control of our body. And 90% of the times, if we tell the story, like me, for instance, of what I felt in them moments, I don't halfway, it really ain't the truth. Because when you think about what you felt in the past, in that moment, meaning past tense and it gone past, you can't remember exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going off of what you feel, and the only reason why you feel it is the experience you have now.
So let me ask you this. So how do you feel that maybe in your younger days or even going back to a kid, how do you feel that affected not just you but also your siblings to maybe where you and your siblings may, because you have like you said, you have a lot of siblings that don't even deal with each other. They don't even talk to each other, haven't even seen each other in a long time. And how do you really relate that? For people that might be listening and going through this, and they might even be at a young age, and go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, that's the question. I mean, I
want to speak on that.
The thing about it, first and foremost, this topic is a real, very, not only interesting, but it's deep and it's very much necessary. It's very much needed, because like you just said, here it is, people that came from the same bloodline, grew up in the same house, excuse my expression, ate, sleep, shit, lived and did everything together in that same household, now have reached a point where they really ain't jamming with they family. And when I say this, a lot of people may disagree. It's very much understandable. Why it's very much understandable, and it goes back, it's related to the fact that why I like this topic too is because the greatest trick the devil pulled on the world was getting you to think that he didn't exist.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that goes with the power of our mind and our emotion. If we ain't in tune with something, then we already been tricked.
Mm-hmm.
We already been had. And the fault lies with nobody except the devil. You know what I mean?
Well,
and he's alive.
And I want to collab on that, as it runs so deep that even when we speak on the devil, like, we all was born with two sides, and to be honest with you, we all was born with a good and a bad within ourselves. He never said none of us was going to be perfect, but he said to balance it out, which meaning as we balance it out, that mean on one side it got to be something negative and the other side is something positive. In order to balance it out, as we strive for perfection, we realize that, like, we got to know that we got another side to us in order to control it. You know what I mean? Because if we don't acknowledge that, we'll be controlled by something we don't even think exists within ourselves. You know what I mean? And then we'll go all outside of ourselves, blaming everybody else, when the whole time the biggest devil we face is within ourselves. You know what I mean? And a lot of families, as far as siblings, they've been divided mentally, and we don't even know that it was a measure put down on us way before us. You know what I'm saying? Because it was meant for us to be divided as far as to destroy the families. You know what I'm saying? Like, the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So when he do that, he divides and conquer. You know what I mean? He find a weakling, and then he make one hate the next, and then one hate the next. Before you know it, the whole house is divided. You know what I mean? And that's where we at as a people. You know what I'm saying? To the point where people go outside of their own family and find other family members that's no kin to them. You know what I'm saying? Because what's within the house. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to us having to love each other unconditionally. The good days, the bad days, you know what I'm saying? Hell and back, you know what I mean? And we can't be so judgmental. We got to be able to look at each other and know where we need each other at and help each other right there, you know what I mean? And that mind state has been taken away from us because we all so judgmental. Everybody want to throw darts instead of being the one to say, hold up, man, let me pick you up. Let me walk you through this a little bit. I see where you slacking at, you know what I mean? Like, it used to be a point where people used to tap into your greatness and help you bring out your greatness. Now everybody want to destroy each other. And that play a major part of why the house is divided, because we don't realize how it's mental. You know what I mean? It's our mindset, how we see things, how we see each other, how we take in things. You might give somebody advice and they gonna take it personal, like, oh, he think he know it all. Whole time, exactly. It was called up on you to deliver that message. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the messenger. You got to pay attention to the message. Yes. And that little rhythm right there, a lot of us forget. You know what I'm saying? We be so boastful that we don't even want to receive when it's time for us to receive. And then we get to complaining like, God, why you ain't send me this? Or I need an answer to this.
That's why you ain't blessed.
And we don't realize all of that is mental. It's in your mind, that battlefield in your mind where you don't even know what to judge now. We don't know what to take in and what not to take in because we taking it too much. You know what I mean? And we getting confused about real love. The love that's amongst you. You know what I mean? The love that don't cost a dime. You dig? And we fighting those battles in our mind because now we love the wrong things. And now we don't know what to love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. And you make a good point. And I really like what you stated earlier because it is so relevant that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And what better way to do it than that family unit? What better way to do it than to drive those siblings against each other? Because when you drive those siblings against each other, then all that does is drive division amongst the family. Right. It drives division amongst the family, and there is no strong unit there, to hold it up. So, like you had stated earlier, MPZ, when it is that we take on what it is, that accountability, and how it is that we deal with it, and try to recognize, because we all, especially if it is that you are a close-knit family, you can recognize when it is that your sibling is going through something. Right. You may not know how to address it or what to do at that time, but you can recognize it. You can recognize what it is that they're, what they're going through. And I find that there is a lot of siblings now that do a lot of talking behind the other siblings' back. Mm-hmm. We all have to be able to talk. That communication, the communication piece. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just want to chime in because that's a very valid point to the fact that, when we spoke about not knowing, right? And opposed to recognizing what is taking place. Mm-hmm. On both of those aspects, the common denominator that is missing is that love. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that love, I mean not just self-love. I'm just talking about love, period. That unconditional love. One of the things that I can say from the family that I come from, and I always mention my mom, but in her struggle, she always came from a place from love to her best understanding. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I think that was the part that we were really kind of blessed as siblings to be able to experience on one way or another to be able to continue to keep that some type of connection, where it didn't get as bad as a lot of people, a lot of siblings out here, and that's not me talking down on any of them, but just to kind of bring my point home to whereas that it's a lot of them out here that's strictly betraying and killing one another. And actual blood.
Right.
Exactly.
So with that being said, I'm saying love is a powerful tool.
Yes.
If you understand it.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the main things that helps us to be able to find that equal, that balance in others' actions and what's taking place and how to be able to recognize it.
Exactly.
You know, because it comes with also a blessing that's greater than ourselves that gives us that intuition to be able to look at certain things too.
Exactly.
And be able to see it. So.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, like, we came from a wealthy family, and when I say wealthy, we was showered with a lot of love. We even when we ain't have much. You know what I mean? I seen my grandma, she carried a load for the whole family, the nieces, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, the uncles, the aunties, all in one house. You know what I mean? And she showed us, though, that was genuine love, because if we didn't have nothing to eat, we knew if we made it to grandma's house, we was going to eat. If we ain't have nowhere to go, if we knew we made it to grandma's house, you're going to find a spot on that floor somewhere. You know what I mean? And we going to eat good. We going to be clean. We going to live good. Everybody giving you real love. And love didn't come always sweet. You know what I mean? Love wasn't always them kind words you wanted to hear. Sometimes it was them words you didn't want to hear, but it was them words that helped you. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big blessing to be raised amongst real ones that really kept it unconditional with you. You know what I'm saying? Which meaning I might hurt your feelings, but that don't mean I don't love you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not hurting your feelings intentionally. It's just we don't be in control of our emotions when we receive certain things until we get to a understanding point with ourselves, you know, and then we'll look back and understand like, oh, he was really showing me love when I thought he was hating me. You know what I'm saying? When really, like, when you raised amongst real loved ones, you don't have to question it. You're supposed to know your people, know who you around. And that's a big issue right now mentally, because we don't know our people enough. So we second guessing a lot of the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? We got to get strong within ourselves and know that the things around me got to sit amongst me with strength, or it can't sit amongst me, which means that if I can't sit amongst solid people, where if I'm slacking or I'm going through something and you're not telling me that you see it, you love me that much that you see it, but you don't tell me, I don't need you amongst me. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this, though, because you do have that going on every day, but sometimes, you know, will you agree that sometimes that, you know, they see it, but they really don't know how to come to you, because sometimes we have to have that listening ear or that receiving ear to be able to receive what's coming to us. And sometimes we might not see the aura of how we come off when somebody might be trying to bring us something, so it'll make them bag off and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should mind my business. Right. But the whole time their intentions is to, make that aware of, come on now, you might be, you tripping, this ain't you for real. We need to tighten up, you need to talk about it. But it's not that easy all the time with siblings. Because I'm going to tell you something, we came from good stock. But I have to say this, me and my brothers, sisters, we never really fought like that because my mother and dad did not play that. But we had our issues and we had our fights and our arguments. But one thing about it was we argued, we had our space, and then we had to come back and we had to apologize and make it go on because, and I understand that's just not for everybody and that's not how everybody works. But I'm just saying all that to say that even if you're not in that situation with a sibling, you have to find that peace somewhere within yourself first in order to be able to forgive. And if you can apologize, you got to be able to forgive, and you have to be sincere in your apology because you have so much siblings rivalry that's going on, and it's starting from little kids. But we have to also understand that those little kids' mind is being developed then, and anything that they see or hear, that's what they're repeating and that's what they're doing. Well, a lot of times kids are not bad. It's just what they have encountered and picked up. They smart. They inquisitive. They want to know.
And that plays a major part of us paying attention to ourselves more. Like when they said, you got to love yourself in order to love somebody else. And that comes down to even your children. You know what I mean? Because if you ain't loving yourself, that kid going to pick up on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You hating yourself, you walking around with attitudes all the time, that kid going to pick up on that. If you sitting around cussing everybody out in front of that kid going to pick up on that. So we got to realize them babies is sponges. You know what I'm saying? So they picking up on everything. We they first influence. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, we teaching these kids to be divided when you sitting amongst your children talking bad about your sisters or your brothers or your mama or whoever you talking bad about that's within their family. The kid picking up on that. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it all goes back to us, those that do understand. We got to start playing our position, because whether people want to hear it or not, one thing I didn't realize, sisters, a lot of times you might have said something, I might have seemed like I rejected it. But one thing about soul food, it's going to digest, it's going to go in your system, and it's going to stick. So whether I wanted to hear it or not, it still went with me. Right. Now, see, one thing I learned about understanding, you might not always understand at that moment. But when it's time for you to utilize what somebody gave you that's necessary for you to have, you're going to look back and think about that day, that conversation, or somebody that really told you something you didn't want to hear, but you heard it. Because now you're looking back and hearing every word clearly, because now you in a place to receive what they gave you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this now. Ain't no holding back. Whether they want to hear it or not, or they act like they don't feel like talking about it, if it's something meant to be said, say it and move on. It ain't personal if you didn't want to hear it. It ain't personal because you feel like I'm speaking out of turn. But if I'm a genuine person and I'm telling you from the heart, you know what I mean? You're going to eventually hear it, because you'll sit back and digest that person that said it and be like, wait a minute, this person really don't have no ill feelings towards me, or this person ain't trying to turn me down. You know what I mean? Right. This person is really trying to build me up. We got to quit we're so sensitive about all the wrong things. You see what I'm saying? And we got to get back strong. And when I say that, we got to be able to take that criticism, you know what I'm saying?
But you know some siblings, and I probably done did it myself. Sometimes when your siblings come and say something to you,
it's more personal.
Yeah, it's more personal. But not only that, you might have received it better from an outside person than opposed to your sibling. And you know what I'm saying?
That might have been who to deliver that message. That's why you can't trip off the messenger.
One thing that I can say is that you can't. What we got to do is we can't give up. Right, we cannot give up on the fact that even though it is, our siblings may not want to hear what it is we have to say, or we recognize that our siblings are going through something or whatever. You can't give up. The struggle that your sibling may be going through, especially dealing with mental illness and mental health, is you gotta try and be that support system. It does start to kind of wear down on you or whatever the case, but you all have to be that backbone and start holding up each other. There is no way that me and my brothers and sisters, we don't talk every day. But you best believe at some point we're going to touch bases. And I'll use, like, say, for instance, my sister. Me and my sister don't agree on a lot of things. But you best believe that we have enough in us where we're going to talk it through, whether we like what it is said or how it is that it's, said. We're going to talk it through. And then we're going to come to a happy medium, to be able to get past it. But it's so many siblings now that's holding on to things for years and years and years.
You gotta let it go.
You do. Yeah. But it's funny you said that, though, Miss Mink. But what about them siblings that have that parent that, you have 2 or 3 different baby daddies? And I'm gonna put it out there because this is real life and it's happening every day. I know people that's going through this, that they're siblings, but you got that mother, and because she favored one baby daddy better than the other, she takes it out on that child. And I can't stand you because you look like your daddy. And,
well, that's going on a lot.
You have that, and and that's where a lot of the kids are developing mental health and illness from that, because you're getting that from your mother of a choice she made. You know what I'm saying? And they had no
But
choice in that, you know?
sometimes you have to think about, and it's sad. It is sad because I mean I have more than one baby father. I got 3 kids, and my 3 children have different fathers. But one thing that I myself, being the woman that I am, I never would let that divide my
True
children.
indeed.
I don't care who the father is. I'm the
Right.
mother. I'm the one that birthed you. And I want to make sure that you all have the strongest bond that you all can have. I don't want there to be any differences or separation or whatever, because the love that I give is shared equally amongst each of you all, and I want you all to give that same back. But I know that not all females do it. You made a valid point in that, and it does have a deep impact on the children. It has a real deep impact. I don't care who the father is. I don't even care, like I'll say in a situation where as to if that father has multiple, baby mamas.
Right, because he could be the one with the kids.
It's both
ways.
Yeah.
They need to come together in order to make sure that those siblings, bump the daddy if that's what you're holding on to. You want to make sure that the babies or those sisters and brothers are well connected.
That's why they say it takes a village.
Yeah.
And that didn't break it down on who the daddy and who the mama and where the babies came from.
Exactly.
It takes a village. And that's what we got to get back to. See, that's what I mean by we be judging all the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? Who cares when God gave them a gift? I don't care where it came from. It's still a gift. You see what I'm saying? That's just like if you came to your front door and somebody dropped an Amazon box at your front door, and you open that box up and it's a meal ticket in there. You're not going to be questioning where that money just came from. You better count your blessing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same way with them babies. Them are gifts. It's a lot of people that cannot have children. And those that do, no matter how that baby came, you got to wash away the pain and be thankful that you was blessed with that gift. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing. I have different baby mothers, but I treat all my kids as if they came from one house, which they did. They came from this father, and ain't no difference in them. I love them all different. They all special in their own way because they came to me when I was going through certain things in different times, and those babies shifted my life. You see what I'm saying? So they all play a major part, and that's what we got to look at. Ain't no, this is my favorite. All of them is. Now, some of them might get on your nerves a little more than the others. That's because some need more attention than others. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing that I love about them, though, when they all come together, you wouldn't even know they had different mothers. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we saying. We are not perfect by no means. No. We all are dealing with some type of mental, even the littlest thing you might not even think it's mental, but we are all dealing with mental. It's just about how you grab hold to it and deal with it. You gotta. Sometimes you can go through things by yourself because sometimes God want to put you in that place because he needs your attention. But sometimes he will put people in your life. You just got to be willing to listen and receive.
Yes.
One of the things that I want to take the opportunity to really, really kind of bring home is that, and like I was saying earlier before I got thrown off, is the fact that I lost my train of thought, not so much thrown off, but is that definitely, I could say with all honesty that my intentions was never where my heart was at towards my siblings. Never did I even think in my wildest dream that the relationship that I created with my siblings will be the way that it ended up. I truly mean that from my heart, because I have a different perspective on the way I came up, and how I end up the decisions I made. One of the powerfulest things it's three things that I continue to research and study is the uh, the uh, the effect of trauma, a person's belief system, and I don't necessarily when I say belief system, I'm not just talking about uh, the spiritual side of just God, God,
Religion,
God. I'm
right?
talking about our everyday life, our everyday walk, the things that we take in our mind, the things, and when I say take in our mind, the things that we see, hear, smell, and taste into our body, and we begin to process that. And what that process looked like to me is running through that thought in my mind, self-talk and all that, you know what I'm saying, is what built my belief system. Not to forget to add on top of that the feelings I was having, and when you're unable to, this is one of the most powerful things that all adults should be aware of. This is why we got to go within and check ourselves, because when you having these children and and you're not able to tap in and really be in tune with what you see in front of you from your own experience. I'm not talking about what they actually doing, their actions, but to be able to read that and relate it in your mind to something. Meaning, like, if you see an apple, the word for apple is apple. You understand what I'm saying? And to throw an apple, when you throw that apple, the actions of it, the question first and foremost is, what did you just throw? You got a word for it, apple. So I'm saying these the same way with these actions. So now what we have done now is came up with a word like trauma for a lot of hurt and pain that we have been through. And we're not just talking about every individual that speak about trauma, and what they went through. We talking about generational curse.
Yes,
Exactly.
You know
yes.
what I'm saying? We talking
Generational,
about
and they are
stuff that
real.
we didn't even have no control over. Our
Right,
parents didn't even have no control over,
And
and
they
their
parents
parents
didn't
didn't
have
have no
it.
control over.
Exactly.
You feel me? So until we realize what that really looked like and how to recognize that, we got a agent provocateur amongst us. And I'm not talking about no human being. I'm talking about an emotion. I'm talking about a thought process. I'm talking about actions. And until we able to weed that out, it's gonna continue to plague us and destroy us. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of us today truly do not believe in mental illness.
Yeah.
Let me give you a quick statistics, and I'm gonna tell you where it all began for each generation and their child. Every black man have an unsustainability mental health problem. And you know where it started at? In grade school. You know what they disciplinary act is? They either suspend you, they put you in this on the yellow slope, the short bus, or they recommend you to get whooped with a paddle or something. That's
You
their
go to an
disciplinary
alternative
act
school.
too, or go to an alternative. Yeah, that's their answer to our mental illness. And it ain't nothing wrong with our mental illness, because you know what? In all honesty, man, we have fought. We've been in battle since day one.
Yeah, we have.
And we
That's
got PTSD, if that's what you call it, the label you want to
but
call on
that's
it.
just
So
like
this where it ain't. It's like Malcolm said. Till them roosters come home and to crow, meaning until that's at your front door or in your living room, you
That's
don't
not.
have an issue with
with
it.
it.
You don't
Exactly.
have a problem with it. But that's a lie. As long as you
Exactly.
got a dark hue skin and you got a problem and you got siblings, you got a mama, you got a daddy that's of that nature, they have it. If they ain't did no more than dealt with racism, ain't none of that stuff normal. Ain't none of that stuff something that we could just endure, whether it's complex trauma or just trauma temporary. You know what I'm saying? You have degrees in it, of course, but we all been affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
And until we recognize it and be able to see it in our actions and say to ourselves, like, man, well, I'm an unsustainable black man with mental health, you know what I'm saying? That's why I stay angry. That's why I got so much rage. That's why I got so much resentment. This is the real thing about the mental health.
That's why we got to do self-evaluation.
Real quick, bro. I'm gonna cut this short. This is the last thing I'm at. Cause you know why? I'm gonna bring it home, and it's gonna be real effective, and it's gonna resonate because it's not one person out there that ain't dealt with death. It ain't one person that ain't out there that dealt with divorce. I'm talking about black people, and especially black people. It ain't no people out there that ain't in debt. Depression. It's devastating.
It's only devastating when you think it. You know why? Because when I say that, and not so, I'm saying that to say that everything we dealing with, it goes back to the more you love yourself, certain things won't even affect you as bad. You know what I'm saying? Because
I totally agree.
What's out of your hands is out of your hands, and what you could change, you can, and what you can't, you just got to keep pushing until you can.
But you got to get to that point.
I know, but it starts with at least somebody acknowledging that point. You see what I'm saying? I'm not.
But see his steps before that. The only way you're gonna be able to acknowledge it is first you got to get an understanding of what it is,
right?
And you got to go through a healing process. And in that healing process, you got I'm not you personally. I'm talking in general. You got to see yourself.
Exactly.
You got to see that effect on you.
But see, that's the problem with a lot of people, though. They don't go through the healing process. No, they just jump right into something else, or they eat
a banana or drink a shake, and then they turn around, you know what I'm saying, and sit up and listen to
or even take on
and then they say they cool. But in their everyday walk, I'm still getting it. Look at me.
That's why when we get besides trying to impress outside of ourselves and start loving ourselves more, then you start appreciating yourself and start deleting certain things that you know ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we do certain things to cover up some pain inside of us, or something that's bothering us mentally, or something it's all reasons. But my point is, I'm saying that for those that's going through it, we gotta move on no matter what, or you're gonna live a whole life carrying loads that's not helping you. You know what I'm saying? So it starts with self. Looking in the mirror saying, okay, today I ain't feeling too good, but I'm gonna do something to make me feel better. Or, okay, I got a lot on my mind, but I'm gonna do something to take my mind off of it. I totally understand, because, you know what I mean, I had to train myself to think like this. I'm not somebody just talking like, oh, every day's a good day. I've been through hell and back to get to this point. See, he made me earn this understanding. You see what I'm saying? I done lost so much. I done lost so much that I have got numb to the losses. So that means now when I lose, I know I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? Because I know when the devil paying attention to me, that means God got something for me. So I turned the math around. And that's all. I've been taught to do that, though. I didn't know that at first. I used to drown in my own sorrows. That was mental. You feel me? Until I had to snap out of it and strengthen my mind. You know what I mean? And quit giving myself the reason to say that, okay, it's messed up and this and this and that, and say, okay, I'm going to take this pain and make that my win. I'm going to take this pain and make that my strength. They say you can't walk again. That's going to be the reason I'm going to walk again. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm saying that, I'm saying because I had to do that in the worst way. You know what I mean? Because when they put me in a wheelchair and sent me out the hospital and they signed me off to a wheelchair, and I'm looking at the lady like, what's this just for me to get to my car? And she like, no, sir, you're going to need this for a while. Matter of fact, we can't tell you when you're going to walk again. You know what I'm saying? And me and my mama looked at each other and said, oh, we going to walk again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I ain't going to need this chair too long. You know what I mean? Because you know why, though? In my mind, even when I was telling myself it was over, I also knew the voice in my head that was telling me, oh, you got work to do. You gonna walk again. You see what I'm saying? So I had to train myself to ignore the pain and take that pain and make it a victory. You see what I'm saying? Because I knew that he was telling me something way more powerful than me, telling me you gonna walk again. And now either I'm gonna second guess him or I'm gonna believe him because I'm gonna walk again, even if I was doubting myself. So I'm saying that from a place of doubt. I'm saying that from a place of loss. I done lost so much that I'm numb to the losses. When I say that now.
And that's just it. You have to get to that point. And that's where, you know, like you said, you have trained yourself and gotten yourself to that point. And that's, you know, that's a big call out, you know, because that's a part of that healing process when it comes to dealing with mental illness, is that you basically, you know how they say you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah,
When it is that you can will yourself to be in that sick and tired of being sick and tired, but you also, as that, you have to also have that support system. If it, when I say support system, that don't mean that it's a whole group of people, just one person, because a part of that, you also have to be able to talk it through, communicate, and have somebody that you can. And MPZ called it out, at the beginning, is that line of communication, to be able to talk to somebody.
But the most important part, though, you have to have some type of relationship with the Most High, because you have to become in tune sometime in order to even get to that point, to even get past that point, to even get in tune to where you can see that it's you, that you got to step out. You got to be able to step out on faith. See, a lot of people don't believe in something that they never seen or something that they've never touched, because our mind has been programmed to believe in what we see and what we can feel. All of these clothes that we wear, and the makeup and the hair, you know what I'm saying? So that is all a part of the program, but that's mental. We have to get back to the basics. And a lot of people be like, but y'all got to come up into you got to be able to take the basics and bring it up into the now. Because if not, you just in the now.
Yeah.
In the now, and you don't know what's going on. And that's mental. Start with self. It's mental. Yes. I hate that we have to get, but hold on, MP, hold on, MPZ. We all just have to go ahead and say our final thoughts, because we coming to that last part of the show, and I don't want it to cut off on us. So go ahead and get your thoughts out, and everybody get your last thoughts out, and don't give up. Stay tuned. We coming back. Go ahead, MPZ.
Oh, I first of all, I'm dealing with technical difficulty already. Sometimes I hear you, and then sometimes I don't, and I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I hear you, baby. Hear you. I can hear you.
Because he keep freezing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if y'all see it, but he keep freezing.
It's okay, though. Every time something good is going, he try to come in, but we ain't going to even give him no room. So we're going to keep it moving.
That's right.
Okay. So come on, Miss Meek. You go ahead, and then MP, whenever you can jump in.
Last words is just siblings, come together and be able to talk to one another and communicate with each other and express yourselves with each other. Hold each other down. I don't care. Through the midst of it all, hold each other down, because we do need to break that generational curse in reference to not being able to talk about certain things and shoving things up under the rug. But yes, hold each other down. It's
just like a puzzle, you know what I mean? Like a puzzle got all different shapes, but without a piece of the puzzle ain't complete, you know what I mean? That's so right. Each piece of the puzzle play a part, no matter how it's shaped. No matter how one might not understand and the other might understand a little more. That means we got to help each other understand it. We got to have a way where we can reach each other, no matter what level. Some of us might be on different frequencies, but we still got to be able to reach each other. Or what good is it? That's like having information and you can't reach the people with the information that's going to help them. You know what I'm saying? So, when we speaking on these things, we got to be able to understand that it's more angles than one. Yes, true indeed. It's a lot of people that don't think like we think. But if we don't share how we think, how would they know that this is a different way of thinking? You see what I'm saying? In order to become conscious, you got to be conscious of your foolishness. You got to be conscious of what you don't know. Like I was taught by this teacher. She told me, she said that it wasn't always about what you know. It's what you don't know is what's going to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? And that's even mentally. You know what I mean?
All right now. All right. Come on.
You must have read my mind, because before I got cut off, God knows that
confirmation.
When I said, hey, listen, I got a challenge for everybody. And that challenge is the thought that you have in a situation that seems challenging to you, try to do the opposite. Do the opposite. Tell your mind right there in that moment and see the results. Tell your mind in that moment, Because the first thing we have is we have a moment where it's challenging, and then the next thing we do is we go to the negative. So I'm saying challenge yourself and say, and this goes out to people, siblings, everybody, when they go around their sibling and they don't get along, and the first thought they think about is what happened in the past.
Right.
Challenge yourself to do the opposite.
All right now.
Stay in that moment.
Do the opposite.
You know what I'm saying? Stay in that moment. Do the opposite. Even if you're tired, just for lazy people or people that don't want to get up and go to work, and you laying or you hurting, just say, I don't even feel like getting up. Do the opposite. I'm finna get up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you will see the difference.
Try doing that and see the outcome and see how you begin to change and process things a little bit different or see things different. And that's the challenge I present to everyone out there.
I love that challenge.
All right now. All right now. If you want to get on with that challenge, we challenge you that. I just want to say to all the siblings, listen, find forgiveness in your heart. It's something you done did to somebody and you want them to forgive you. So find forgiveness. And we all are a second away, a foot out the grave. So we don't never know the day, the time, or the hour. Love y'all till next Friday. Stay tuned. We back again.
All right. Thanks everybody.
Shout out to MPZ for coming through all the time. We love you, baby. Thank you. Yes. Shout out to our viewers and our ones that tuned in. Stay tuned to next Friday.
Is it just it's gonna cut off?
Why? What you need?
I just want to have a little talk.
You say, can you have a thought?
If we can have a little talk, not on air.
Oh,
still like this? No, we can't.
No, because it's gonna be on air.
Cool.
So yeah.
I'll holler at y'all later.
All right, MPZ. Thank you for stopping through. Till next Friday, same time. Why not say it?
Why not say it? I'm gone.
I've been in front, and behind of a gun, and most of these niggas ain't even been on the side of one.